Unnecessary, skippable, useless. Number 21 Feral has endured incredible persecution due to the popular belief that Alpha doesn't need her. And the worst part is, this rumor is 100% wrong. In fact, Alpha herself depends on this underrated beast girl to reach her full potential. So unless you're prepared to have a tough time in PGR, your Lightning team needs number 21 Feral to be complete. Let's set the story straight once and for all.
I know. We need to keep some alive.
When number 21's new frame, Feral, was released in the Chinese version of the game, PGR players let out a collective sigh of relief. Finally, after over 3 years of waiting, the meta Lightning team now had a full party of S-ranks. Feral is an S-rank Lightning amplifier, meaning her primary role is to buff her party members, heal, and deal out some heavy damage of her own. She is best paired with fellow Cerberus member Vera Garnet and fan favorite Lucia Crimson Weave, though she'll excel on any Lightning team you put her on. As long as we're talking about meta, keep in mind that Garnet will be getting access to leap skills in the patch Polaris Bond around November 2024. These skills will make the Lightning team even stronger, making it all the more worthwhile to invest in the team. So without further ado, let's talk about how Feral works. Number 21 Feral has an interesting kit. When attacking others, she drains her own HP, but don't let that scare you. If you know what you're doing, she can easily heal it all back. It's very similar to a certain red-haired swordswoman in another Kuro franchise. Using any 3-ping will deduct a quarter of her current health and give her a chunky 12-second shield. 12 seconds is forever in battle, so Feral is actually pretty durable. After tapping a 3-ping, follow it immediately with basic attack. Doing so will cause several things to happen. She'll damage enemies, gain super armor and damage reduction, get points to her core passive gauge, and lastly, she'll heal herself and any party members nearby based on how much damage she does. So just remember to follow any 3-ping with a basic attack. If you time it right and press basic attack when this crosshair appears along with a, she'll deal way more damage and get more points on her gauge. Once her gauge is full, hold basic attack to make Feral go, well, Feral. Number 21 will gain super armor and slash repeatedly before finishing with a bite. Once her gauge is used up, she'll pull enemies in, deal high damage, gain energy, and massively heal herself and allies nearby. While she's going Feral during her core passive, she'll also be adding points onto a second gauge. This gauge determines how powerful Feral's signature move will be, so fill it to 100 before slamming the signature move button for big damage. Got the basics down? Good. Her rotation will look something like this. Swap from Lucia Crimson Weave to number 21 Feral. Use a 3-ping followed by another signal orb in rapid succession to enter this purple field.
Hey, Editor Ivy here. We don't really get into it, but this purple field will slow down enemies and extend the crosshair window where you hit basic attack. You can only use this skill once between signature moves, and it's indicated by the glowing claws on her gauge. Anyway, back to the rotation.
Hit basic attack when you hear the. Use another 3-ping followed by a basic attack when you hear the. When this gauge is full, follow it up by holding down basic attack to go Feral. As soon as this gauge hits 100, use 21's signature move. Then switch to number 21's favorite person, Vera Garnet.
Run! Pray! Run!
There's a little more to it if you want to min-max, but extra investment is required to make it more comfortable, so we'll just leave it at that. Keep in mind that every time Feral heals a party member, they also get buffed and will deal more lightning damage. So be sure to keep the QTEs rolling so everyone gets their buffs. While number 21's self-damaging mechanic may seem daunting, she's actually quite resilient thanks to all her shields and plentiful self-healing. She's nimble, does high damage, and strengthens her allies, making her a versatile and valuable member of the Lightning team. Also, just saying, giant claws are the best. So if she's so great, why do so many people claim she can be skipped? Well, as with all rumors, it started with a grain of truth, thanks to a certain developer oversight and the notorious Lucia Crimson Weave, aka Alpha. Alpha is the Lightning team's attacker and an extremely powerful character. So powerful, in fact, that upon her debut she completely dominated the Lightning team, with top players opting to never swap her off the field. However, even though this strategy was the meta, it was far from ideal. Well-balanced PGR teams will facilitate rotating through all three party members. Character A does their burst damage, followed by character B, then C, then back to character A again. Unfortunately, even if one character in this loop is disproportionately weak, this rotation completely falls apart. Because character swapping has a cooldown, you can't just swap back and forth between the two strong characters whenever you want. And instead of dealing with the character swapping downtime, pro players will simply make the best characters solo and use the other two as mere QTE bots. This strategy is reserved for working around a badly balanced team, but it comes with a drawback. The solo character can't sustain high damage the whole time. Liv Lux has been the weak link in the Lightning team. So, with number 21 Feral, balance was restored and Crimson Weave's brief solo career came to an end. But not in all cases. Here's where that developer oversight comes in. In the other PGR servers, Feral's debut came with a new full realm support buff for Lightning Warzone. It gave a massive 60% lightning damage increase to anyone under 80% HP. The perfect buff for 21 who lowers her own HP on purpose, right? But here's the problem. This buff would benefit anyone on the field with less than 80% HP, including Alpha. People soon came to realize that they could forgo a healer, let Alpha take a few hits, and she would be sitting pretty with a huge 60% damage buff the entire time. Ironically, this buff made for Feral ended up making Alpha an even better solo fighter, but only in Lightning Warzone. The devs realized their mistake and fixed this oversight one patch later. With the fix, the full realm support will still give a 60% lightning damage increase, but only for 8 seconds after swapping. This means no more Alpha soloing and everyone on the Lightning team benefits. Unfortunately for 21, however, this little blunder did a number on her reputation. Not everyone noticed that the full realm support was fixed, and many continue to incorrectly assume that solo Alpha is still the optimal way to play. And if the other servers are any indication, Global will more than likely inherit this erroneous full realm support buff when number 21 debuts. Rest assured that if it does, it should only last for one patch. And even during those patches, number 21 is still a huge upgrade from Liv Lux. Or is she? What if you're a player who hyper-invested in Lucia Crimson Weave and completely neglected the other team members to the point where it's not worth swapping characters at all? Is there really a difference in how Lux and Feral perform as mere QTE bots only? Well, yes, actually. Lux's QTE buff manifests as a circle on the ground, meaning that to benefit from it, you need to actually be inside the circle. And trust me, with all the zipping around that Alpha does, that circle can start to feel real small. But there's another drawback. Lux's buff timer isn't paused by time lag calculation. That is, the stage timer pausing during some signature moves. If Lux's QTE circle is active when time lag calculation begins, the signature move will still benefit from it, but the circle will disappear as soon as the signature move animation ends, since time will be ticking away for it all the while. Meanwhile, Feral's QTE buff is way better than a circle on the ground. Instead, it's applied directly to the character on field no matter where they are. In addition, its timer pauses while time lag calculation is active, meaning the buffs will still be active after a signature move is used. Number 21 really belongs on the field with Alpha, but even if you use her as a QTE bot, she still outshines Liv Lux in every way. This gap between Liv and 21 grows exponentially the more you invest in Feral. We recommend at least getting her to double S rank for free through the Phantom Pain Cage shop for a smoother rotation. If you're the type to pull multiple copies of characters anyway, getting her to double S3 will give her a much faster and stronger rotation, and triple S rank gives a huge amplifier bonus. However, these high ranks are not crucial to her kit. Likewise, Feral's 6-star signature weapon and Cub aren't crucial either. They'll make her do more damage, but they're not necessary. Since you'll want to swap to her frequently, you may want to mix up her look. If her edgy default outfit is not your style, she'll be releasing with this alternate coating which sends her right back to school and replaces her bones with some sort of purple jello. But if you're not ready to go back to school, you might prefer this adorable outfit with its big bushy tail, exposed arms, and beautiful blue and orange special effects. What you got there, 21? No, that's dangerous! Oh my god, don't be sad, I'm so sorry! Best of all, this coating is actually part of a set. Vera Garnet and Noctis Indomitus get matching coatings, and as you can see, they look amazing together. These Cerberus coatings should release in the patch Polaris Bond, and 21 Ferals can be purchased for 168 rainbow cards. So with all that said, should you actually pull for number 21 Feral? As usual, the best time to get her is during her debut patch, where she'll be 100% guaranteed within 60 pulls or up to 15,000 BC. Keep in mind that this is the last expensive character for a while. The next two patches debut Noctis and Elisa, both of which can be obtained completely free, giving you plenty of time to build up your pull currency. And you'll probably need it, considering right after that we get a few black card draining patches. But the good news is, if you're playing now during Chaos Unsnarled, you'll have plenty of time to get number 21 and save for the future. So, pull number 21 if you want to have the strongest lightning team. Feral finally brings balance to this team and we're all better for it. Pull if you're missing Crimson Weave. Number 21 does incredible damage in her own right, so if you're struggling with lightning element stages, she might save you. Pull if you want the Cerberus team. With the introduction of Noctis next patch, you can have a full Cerberus team that's all the same element, and that's really fun. And of course, pull her if you really love number 21. Or if you really love Alpha. After all, number 21 allows Alpha to meet her full potential. But we understand that not every person can afford every character, especially if you're late to the patch. So don't pull Feral if you're watching this in the future and you can no longer get her at 100% rate. There are a lot of very strong characters coming out, and at this point you might be better off prioritizing someone else. You also might want to avoid pulling if you aren't competitive and coatings bring you more joy. All of these will eventually be available in exchange for your black cards. And maybe you'll want to skip Feral if you hyper-invested in Alpha and now you have no BC to spare. Granted, if this is the case, it's less of a choice and more of a consequence.
I'll show you the consequences of your choices soon enough.
But if that's the case, I have some good news. There's actually a way to get Feral, or any S rank, totally free without spending a single black card. And you'll need to watch this video to find out how.
On all levels except physical, I am a wolf.